Prologue. Ginny Darling paused as she heard the engine of a car outside the window. He couldn't be home. Not yet. She'd thought she had an hour at least. It wasn't much time, but she had decided it would have to be enough. Her eyes darted around the tiny bedroom as she looked to see where she could hide and what looked out of place. The engine faded away as it continued down the street, and Jenny's breath escaped in a relieved rush. No time to slow down, though. This was her one shot. She would not get another one. Quickly folding the shirt in her hands, she shoved it into the suitcase and turned to the dresser to grab some more clothes. She didn't have many. He only allowed her to have the clothes he purchased for her. None of which were her style, but that had never mattered to him. One day when she was out from under his thumb and had enough money, she would buy clothes she liked. Simple ones that didn't hug her waist or dip too low. When her meager outfits were packed, she grabbed her hairbrush and toothbrush out of the bathroom. Nothing else in the bathroom belonged to her. He didn't let her have a curling iron for fear she might use it on him. Nor did he allow her a hairdryer, though she was unsure what the fear behind it was, unless he thought she might try to throw it in his shower. She grabbed a towel and a washcloth as well, unsure of how long it would be before she would have the money to purchase her own. Besides, he would be madder that she had gone than that she had taken toiletries. Ginny hurried to the kitchen to grab food and the little money she had managed to stash away. He didn't let her work, but he did give her money to buy groceries once every 2 weeks. And every once in a while, she could find a coupon or a deal and end up with a little left. She'd begun stashing it in a container that once held prunes, knowing he would never look in it. His aversion to anything healthy would keep him away. She grabbed it from the shelf along with some crackers and Pop-Tarts. Not the healthiest fare by far, but it would do until she could afford more. Maybe she'd be lucky enough to find work in a restaurant and they would let her take home the extra food. After shoving the food and the can of money into her shoulder bag, she took one final look around the apartment. It had never been home, not since the first time he had hit her, but it had been a roof over her head and protection from the even rougher crowd on the streets. She hoped she wouldn't end up on the streets again, but she would know better what to look for this time, how to avoid another man like Carl, like her father. A glance at her watch revealed she needed to get going. If all went well, Carl would be gone another half hour, but occasionally his errands ran shorter, and she needed to be gone before he got back. Adjusting the bag on her shoulder one more time, she grabbed the suitcase and exited the apartment building. Ginny was certain that Carl had neighbors that kept tabs on her comings and goings. The suitcase would definitely arouse suspicion, but she hoped to be at the bus station and on a bus before they could alert Carl. She kept her ears open and her eyes alert as she made her way to the bus station. Every glance flashed her direction sent her heart racing and her pulse thundering in her ears. "Where to?" the operator asked when she finally approached the window. His eyes barely registered her, and his tone declared his boredom. Ginny could not have been more thankful. He would probably not remember her, and if he did, she doubted he would be able to describe her. "How far can I get with $45? His eyes flicked to her for a moment before he leaned forward and tapped on the keys of his computer. "Fire Beach, Illinois, and the bus leaves in 10 minutes. Illinois wasn't as far as she would have liked, but it would have to do. "I'll take one ticket." She placed the few wadded bills she had on the counter and pushed it toward him. A moment later, she held a ticket in her hand. Hopefully, it was her ticket to freedom.